Yeah, I'm originally from Mount Gambier. Started music when I was about 19, 20. Started playing guitar, started singing. I was in a duo. So my first experience with music is my old man. He's a guitarist, and I grew up around music. He was playing guitar in the house all the time, and yeah, I didn't pick it up to about 19. So once I got the guitar, I was like, I can't put this down. I've got to play all the time, and went to open mic nights and got into a duo. Sort of found that I had a voice as well, so eventually went solo and haven't looked back since. I've just been playing for 15 years now. I used to work with my dad. We would go and have smoko and lunch, and we'd actually just jam, and we'd end up taking hours playing guitar, and he'd be playing mandolin, I'd get my acoustic, and we'd end up playing for half the day and not actually doing work. But that was kind of my introduction to music. I've written a few of my own sort of songs. When I first started playing guitar, that's when I sort of wanted to sort of explore what I could do with it. I was probably 20, 21 when I wrote my first song. Yeah, just I found it was easier to write the music first and then lyrics sort of. I found lyrics a little bit harder. Yeah, I'll always pick up a melody first and then sort of fit the lyrics around the melody. Yeah, my songwriting process would be quite often I'll go and listen to some of my favourite songs. Like I'll go and listen to a Beatles album, Fleetwood Mac, something like that. I find those songs were kind of some of the best songs ever written. See where it takes me. I sort of just let it flow. I hope people, every song I've written has obviously a different message and a different time in my life. So, but I hope people listen to it and can connect with it, get deep without getting too deep. First of all, when I'm playing covers in wherever, I try to pick songs that people wouldn't normally choose. You can strip them back to acoustic, and people like turn around and think, oh, I've never heard that song acoustically, and just see how it goes. It's always hit and miss too, like you never know what's going to work or not. My pre-show rituals are quite eclectic. I'll sit in my car and do my vocal practice. I try to hide a little bit because you'll get someone next to you and you'll be sitting there with this screaming or doing or doing something like that, and people will just like, oh, okay, what's that guy doing? That's probably my main thing. And then I always like to sort of center myself a little bit, so I'm not too much nervous energy, too much of that. I just want to sort of get into there and just sort of pick up the crowd. And again, I go with the flow a little bit with it. I just feel the vibe of the room, and then I'll just try to go with that a little bit. Making sure I have a sparkling water and a regular water with some lime in it. Most venues will know that now. And a cup of tea in my breaks. I'll warm up the vocal cords too. So probably one of the most memorable moments recently is I performed on the Indian Pacific train. Went from Perth to Sydney and played. One of my gigs there was in the outback at an outback station, under the stars, and playing like Australian sort of classic, like Under the Milky Way, stuff like that. That was pretty cool. Middle of nowhere, playing to a group of people. My first gig was an absolute disaster. Country music club in Mount Gambier. My first song I learnt was Blackbird by the Beatles. So I had it worked out perfectly. I was so happy with it. Got on stage, halfway through the song, completely went blank. My fingers stopped working. I just stood there, and Dad saved it. He kept playing, and after that I was absolutely shattered. I was like, I thought I was going to be a musician. It's not happening. About 2 days later I picked up the guitar again, and I'm like, oh, actually no, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to persevere with this. And then the next gig was like amazing, and then from there it was fine. It was just that one hurdle. But at the moment, one of my favourite venues is at the Atrium Bar at the Intercontinental. Quite a few celebrities come in as well, so I've had a few of the footy commentators come and sit down and listen. And when Fringe was on, there was quite a few comedians, and they had a few people that of note watching me, and yeah, I kind of like that. Being an accountant and working like an office job during the day, and then having music on the weekends and at night, they kind of complement each other. They're two different worlds, but I'm using two different sides of my brain, and I find I can bring the creativity to my accounting legally. But and then music, it can be mathematical, but I've always with feeling though when I play. But probably some of the challenges I've faced with my music career would be probably 10 years ago I got nodules on my vocal cords, and I couldn't sing for like 3 months, and I had to go to a speech pathologist, and that's when I started getting singing lessons. I did that for about 4 years, and that was really, it helped me a lot. But that was a very challenging time because I couldn't play for 3 months. And I do a bit of Wim Hof breathing. I decided to do it before a gig. Towards the end of the set, my diaphragm just seized up and I couldn't sing. And I'm like, shit, I can't even breathe. My voice was terrible. I actually said to the venue after, I'm sorry, they didn't notice it anyway, but I've got like this hand, I have like long nails, this hand it's all short, and when I break a nail it's like the end of the world, and my wife's like, yeah, she used to pay me out, well, she still does when I break a nail. She's like, oh, you broke a nail, have you? I'm like, yeah. I actually bring a nail file and nail clippers to my gigs as well, and I'll have my nail file next to me so no one can see it, and I'll just sit there in between songs and just like straighten out the fingers so I can pluck my strings properly. They're all shaped by the strings. They've got like weird shapes. Probably the most rewarding aspect of my career so far in music would be just open so many doors playing music, and you get to go to places, and like going on the train, the Indian Pacific, I get to go on there and get paid to travel across the country, and a lot of people spend a lot of money to do that, and I get to do it for free and get paid. So, if I'm working on a fringe show, I'm still in the working out the theme and all the songs I'm going to do. With this fringe show, I'm hoping to collaborate with another artist. I haven't really collaborated with many people actually, like in Adelaide. I'm always playing, so you don't really get to hang out with other musos because we're always doing our own thing. So I'm old enough now to see what the world was like before social media, and then now with it, you can just connect with people so easily now, and do like you could not do any of what we can do now by doing Facebook Lives, live streaming. Like you can connect with the whole world now. It's pretty amazing, and just reaching a larger audience. It can either, there's positive and negatives to everything. If used correctly, it's one of the best things that's happened in the last probably 10 years. My advice to someone starting out in the music business is just practice. That was like, when I first started, I would play like for hours every day. And you've got to hone your craft before you can be able to share it with other people. I also think that it's really important to be unique, like honour who you are, don't try to be someone else. Whatever works for you, if people try to change you, try to fit you into a mould, don't listen to it. Just do what you do, and people will connect with that. If it's coming from a more genuine place, people will connect, and people know. Like if you're not being your genuine self, they know, and it won't work. So you're better off just being true to yourself.